One woman can change anything. Many women can change everything. Hello there, wonderful and beautiful and impactful women of the world. I bring you greetings from Yaoundé, the city of 7 hills and the capital city of Cameroon. And welcome, if you're just joining us, welcome to the Leading Lady Conference 2020. And it is captioned, Building a Legacy in Challenging Times. I am Gladys Viban, and I'm so looking forward to taking this journey with you. I have 28 years of progressive experience working on gender issues, youth issues, and lately I want to think that I can call myself an inspirational speaker. So I hope that together we're going to inspire each other as we embark on this journey. The bus is loading right now, so hop in and let's go together. Now, my talk is not going to be anything out of the ordinary. We're going to be talking about things that we know already, things that we have felt at one point or another in our lives. So this talk is just to put a little pep in your step so that you can feel energized to follow the rest of the programs and the talks and the discussions that will be coming up. You know, there are experts who are going to be breaking this down into bite sizes, and they're going to be going into the nuts and bolts of living a legacy in your different walks of life. So now we're just going to look at some encompassing issues, some overarching concepts and notions, so that we can be in the same frame of mind, we can all be on the same page as we go along. So my talk is going to be just that. Let us just have a chat, and together, hopefully, we'll learn something from one another. Now, what is a legacy? What is a legacy? Why is legacy important? These are the issues that we'll be looking at. And as we go on, hopefully we'll be able to talk in some detail about this. What is the place and the power of legacy in a woman's life? And then we're going to look at some examples of women who have left a legacy. And I'm going to end it up, spice it up a little bit with my own story. I hope we're going to have a good time. What is a legacy? I know this in these times, these challenging times of galloping internet, achievements, when the internet and Facebooking and WhatsApping have redefined the things that are important in our lives. In these times of COVID, when everyone needs to push the reset button to reevaluate what they are all about, legacy is all the more important. Webster's dictionary defines legacy, very simply put, as something transmitted or received from an ancestor or a predecessor from the past. It is important for us to underline some key words. Something that is passed on and it is received from a predecessor. This brings to mind a quotation that I always like to talk about. And this is by Bernice Regan Johnson, a songwriter. She says, "That which touches me most is that I have a chance to pass on to others that which was passed on to me." Simply, that is what legacy is all about. But now let's break it down a little bit into some bite sizes. Now, I looked at the website definition and I thought, well, this was very limiting. So let's push the envelope a little bit. And so I threw it out to some friends and I just asked the question, when you hear the word legacy, what comes to mind? What pops up in your mind when you hear the word legacy? And I had some very, very interesting concepts and notions. So some of them said, legacy is conduct. Someone said it is character. Another one said it is conscience. Somebody said it's a bequeathal, handing down. Somebody said it's people who challenge the process. They don't stay in the mold. They don't conform. Someone said somebody who leaves a legacy is a pace setter. Somebody says it's wealth, it's money, it's buildings. Someone said it is your core values, your core values. Another person said it is milestones, benchmarks, things that you set for yourself, and then you live by those things. Another one said it is paying it forward. And I think I like that one, paying it forward. That means you receive and you pass it on. This is what legacy truly is all about. Now let's continue our discussion as we move on. Now let's put all of these concepts and notions on the back burner. And we're going to come back to it as we continue our talk. You know, like we said, all of us are standing on the shoulders of wonderful women who have gone before us, wonderful women who have blazed the trail. And so we are here because somebody held our hand. We are here because somebody gave you a glass of water to drink. You are here because a teacher held your hand and taught you mathematics, English literature, economics, and so on and so forth. So you are somebody because somebody helped you to come along. So while keeping in mind the fact that we are all coming from that backdrop, from the backdrop of having been helped by somebody else, now let us look at the place of legacy in a woman's life. I think that women, by default, are just legacy builders. Every single thing that women do in their lives is building a legacy. No matter how you slice the cake, no matter what you were doing, no matter what walk of life you are engaged in, every single thing you do, every single day of your life is living a legacy. Your life is your message to the world. So make sure that it is inspiring, that it inspires somebody to be a better person. Legacy is about life and living. It is about learning from the past. It is about living in the present and then building for the future. If we are not working to build a legacy, then we are all losing the very essence of our lives. So think about it. Think that your life, living, is indeed a legacy. Our legacy is couched in purpose. If you do not have a purpose, you cannot define your purpose in life, then you cannot leave a legacy. The purpose of life is to be useful, to be responsible, to be compassionate. It is above all to matter, to count, to stand for something, and to say that you have made a difference in at least one person's life. Don't look at the crowd. Look at the one life that you are impacting every single day of your lives. Legacy is not living something for someone. Legacy is living something in someone. So you seed something in that person. You plant something in that person. And hopefully that will grow, and it will grow into a mighty tree that even many, many others will be able to feed from it. Our lives, like I said, is a story. And once you have planted something, that light in somebody, there is nothing that can dim that light. Now the next question that comes to mind, what is the power of legacy in women's lives? What is the power of legacy in your life? What are you doing differently? Are you putting a little extra in your ordinary? Or are you just going around being regular? We can't afford to go around being regular as women. No. We have to put a little pep in our step. We have to go the extra mile. We have to do that little something that puts your name on the map, that makes you you, so that when somebody calls your name, someone will say something. When somebody calls your name, there'll be a smile on somebody's face. When somebody calls your name, somebody will just lay back and say, oh, that wonderful woman. When somebody calls your name, it's a feeling of warmth that comes, not a feeling of bitterness, because you would have moved somebody from bitterness to betterness. You see, in our African traditions, women have always had a place in safeguarding our heritage. If you want to find out about where so and so has been, just go to a grandmother in your village in an African setting, and she will tell you this person's father or uncle or brother lived in so and so place, and they are here now. They had so many children, they've built so many houses. The women know the stories in our communities. And because we hold that heritage so dear, that is the power of a woman's legacy. No matter where you are in the world, just know this: as a woman, you hold the power of the heritage of your communities, of your people, and of the world. Women are challenging the process in the world today. That is because we come from a very strong legacy. If you had doubted yourself, just know that there is a song that says everybody is somebody and nobody is a nobody. So don't go around thinking that you are a nobody, because as a woman, you definitely are a somebody. Like I said in the opening, one woman can change anything, but many women can change everything. The power of legacy is what you would have done in your lifetime to impact your family, your immediate family as a woman, to impact your profession, where you're working, the things that you do for your profession, the things that you do to earn a living, and also what you would have done to impact your community. So your legacy is not carved on a tombstone. Your legacy is carved in the hearts of people. It's Maya Angelou who said, people will forget what you said. People will even forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. A legacy is something that you plant in someone and you help to nurture it, to grow and to blossom. My dear sisters and women of the world, are you with me? Are we together on this journey? Now, if you had been thinking that you are not living a legacy, well, think again. I am here to tell you that whatever it is that you're doing right now, this very moment, you are touching somebody's life and you're living a legacy. That is the power of the legacy of women. Let me continue with this power of legacy. I talked about the grandmothers knowing all the stories in our communities and all the stories in the villages. Well then, listen to this. My friends, I talked with them again and they said, women are generation keepers. We hold and keep the generations together. Women are the best storytellers. Now, you know when you sit around the fireside in an African setting with your grandmother, and they had probably sent you to the stream to fetch some water, and you left the house and you went around gallivanting with some of your friends, and it is dusk and you come back home with an empty calabash. And during these fireside stories, your grandmother starts talking to you, and all of a sudden the stories evolves around a little girl who was sent to the stream to fetch some water, and she didn't do this, and on her way back she was met by this evil man, and her life was never the same again. But you see, during these fireside stories, what your grandmother is doing is passing on some values, some core values. So as women, the power of our legacy is handing down core values for the next generation. inspiring hope and possibility. Women are the custodians of education, of culture. Women are the first teachers, and they are the best teachers. Women build not only their own legacies, they build other people's legacies. Women are vision bearers. We carry the vision of the family, of the community, and of the nation. And infinitely, women are torch bearers. So you need to be a torch bearer. You need to be that light that goes ahead of someone, that helps them to see clearly and to know where they are going. Now, if I were to ask you a question, who are the 10 top inspiring women who have changed the world? I mean, we will have a slew of names. You will have names that can fill 10 pages. And so I decided, no, I'm not going to go down that road. I'm going to try to talk about women who have influenced and impacted my world. Women who have impacted my world. And so when I thought about this, and not thinking about it in general terms, I decided then to look at the women closest to me and women who have actually impacted my life. Naturally, of course, the first person that came to my mind was my mother. I am blessed to have her around. And this woman is a powerhouse. Not only has she left a legacy in my life, but she has left a legacy in the lives of thousands and thousands of women. As a retired journalist working for 30 years, she ran a program on radio and television titled Calling the Women. She spoke directly to women's issues, empowering them, energizing them, and telling them to be better, to leave the world better than they met it. Ma Olive Sham. She is a powerhouse, and I am standing on her very, very strong shoulders, and I am totally indebted to that legacy, and I hope and pray that I don't let her down in any way. My next legacy person who has touched me most is a young woman, also a journalist in Bamenda. Her name is Hilda B. And Bamenda is in the northwest region in the Republic of Cameroon. This lady is a disabled woman. She cannot even feed herself. She cannot walk. Her limbs, all her limbs are gone. But I watched Hilda do a painting. She put the paintbrush in her mouth and she painted a beautiful white lily flower for me. And she took that pen and used her mouth and wrote my name, dedicated to Gladys Viban. I stood there and I looked at her and I said to myself, if Hilda can do this, no limbs, what stops me from impacting the lives of others? Hilda uses her voice to reach out. She uses her voice to be the voice of the voiceless. She says that her disability is her ability. And that has impacted my life so much. The next is Maya Angelou, the poet and the writer. And I quote this woman every single time I have a chance to talk. She says, be the rainbow in somebody's cloud. There is so much mishap in the world today. We need to bring a little upliftment into people's lives. Maya Angelou, who could not speak for 14 years because she thought she was responsible for the death of somebody who raped her. And in those 14 years she was reading books. She read everything in sight. And when she came out to speak, boy, did she ever speak. She wrote and she spoke, and people were moved. This woman's legacy will live on forever. Of course, Michelle Obama, the first African-American woman to become the First Lady of the United States of America. Now, it is not the title that is important, but it is what she did, what she stood for, allowing other African-American women to think that they also could achieve. She planted the seed of hope in these girls' lives. And so every black woman or any woman all over the world can dare to think that they too can become something. Oprah Winfrey, I must confess, I've always thought that I would be like an Oprah Winfrey in Cameroon, because she's like the icon when it comes to talk shows. Well, I'm still holding on to that dream. I've not given up yet. But I want to think that she has also impacted a lot of lives. Chimamanda Ngozi, the soft-spoken voice, the wonderful and beautiful storyteller. And when she tells her story, you cannot remain the same. When I read her stories, my life changes ultimately. Hillary Rodham Clinton, women's rights are human rights. That's where I get the political side of me, working for women's rights and pushing the envelope when it comes to defending the cause of women. Now, these are a few women who have impacted my life. And I want to ask you the question, do you want to be on my list? Well, then you know what to do. Just go around, go live your life, impact somebody's life, and create your own legacy. Have that light inside of you that nothing can dim and nobody can ever take away from you. And now I will wrap up with the story of my life. I have broken it down into 4 phases. The walking stick from my grandmother's prophetic voice. What's in a name? From my name. Rising from the ashes. And being the voice of the voiceless. Now, the walking stick. During one of my grandmother's fireside stories, she told me that I am a walking stick. In other words, it's a staff that you use to walk when you cannot walk on your own. And at that time, it really didn't mean anything to me. But I finally realized that what she was saying was that I will be like a staff that many people will lean on. So I should know that that would be my legacy in life, that many people would come to me in time of need and I'll be able to help them along. And so I kept that in the back burner. But then when I was doing my master's program, I was working on a theme called negritude. And anyways, long story short, my supervisor asked me, she says, I've always looked at this name and I've wondered, what does your middle name mean? What does that Bonge mean? And for a moment I paused and I thought about it. And I said, actually, it's a name in my dialect, and Bonge means it is good to suffer. But then I asked myself the question, why would my parents name me it is good to suffer? And you know what my professor said? He says, oh my goodness, that is a very beautiful name. It means the flowers of pain. The flowers that are born out of pain. As a woman of faith, it came full circle. And I said to myself, okay, so out of suffering, something beautiful can be born. So your mess can actually be turned into a message. So it means that when you are down and out, that doesn't mean that that is the end of your game. And so that got me thinking, bringing it back to the heritage of legacy. So your legacy is to move people out of pain into sunshine. Is to be that flower that blossoms from the pain of other people. Rising from the ashes, I fast forward. In the year 2000, I lost my husband. And that was one of the most challenging moments that I've ever had in my life, as would any woman tell you. But somebody came to me and said, you're going to rise from the ashes. And I said, rising from the ashes. Again, flashback. Something beautiful can come out of pain. So when you turn your pain into a message of comfort, then you yourself can be able to comfort yourself so that you can uplift other people. And so today, I am Gladys, and simply means a title that is given to a woman in the Sok tradition of the Northwest region to like a knighting to say that you are a woman of the community. And again, that brought forward, front and center, the notion that I had to build a legacy, that I had to impact people's lives, that because my community is looking up to me, I need to step up my game. I'm not supposed to take any chances. And I pray every single day that I have that inspiration to be able to do that and to move forward, to move other people's lives forward. I want to close with my mantra. It is something that spurs me on. A candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. I will say that again. A candle loses nothing when it lights another candle. Our lives are about igniting and rekindling the candles in people's lives. So let us go out while we are building the legacy. Let us go out and light each other's candles. Because when you light somebody else's candle, when your own candle is out, someone else will in turn light your own candle. I thank you very much for your very kind attention. And I look forward to the question and answer period. And I think that we're going to have a lot to share together. So I look forward to this. And on that note, thank you.